When you hear the word luxury, what comes to mind first? Is it maybe, glittering chandeliers, that very formal white glove service, maybe that sort of hushed atmosphere that whispers exclusive? Well, if those are your first thoughts, you might want to get ready, because the whole idea of luxury, it seems, has fundamentally redefined itself. Today we're doing a deep dive into something the sources are calling the silent luxury of seamless service. We're looking specifically at high-end hospitality, and we're going to explore how efficiency, maybe surprisingly, has become, well, the new gold standard. Our sources for this are from Luxure. They're seen as a real leader in this area, specifically some recent blog posts they put out in July 2025. So our mission today, to really unpack this evolution, to dig into what it actually means to create an experience that feels completely effortless, almost like magic for today's traveler.
Yeah, and it's definitely more than just a trend, isn't it? What these sources really show is a pretty profound shift in values for the high-end consumer today. It's not really about the big flashy displays anymore. It's genuinely about what puts the soul at ease.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Because historically, luxury was very performative, right? All about that overt opulence. The grand chandeliers we mentioned, the formal service, everything designed to clearly signal expensive and exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
But these luxury sources, they're saying modern travelers just expect something totally different now. But isn't there maybe a risk there for a brand that's built on traditional luxury? If things become too effortless, too invisible, do they lose that aspirational quality?
That's a really good question. It cuts right to the core of this new paradigm. See, modern luxury travelers, according to these sources, they're not asking for more marble or, more sparkle. What they're really after is clarity, comfort, and a sense of control. They want luxury that feels personal, intuitive, completely effortless. And that's the essence of silent luxury. It's much less about dazzling the eye and much more about creating that feeling of complete ease. It's the luxury of, not having to worry about the small stuff.
So it's not just a little shift. It sounds like a radical redefinition. We're talking about luxury defined not by more, but actually by less noise, less friction. It's about prioritizing this elegance that's meticulously engineered and service that just works almost invisibly. Okay, and here's where it gets really interesting for me. Because, the word efficiency, it often makes you think of something cold, maybe even sterile, clinical. But these sources challenge that head on. They talk about efficiency as something deeply, surprisingly human. How does that work? That seems quite counterintuitive.
It's human because fundamentally it's about removing friction. Just think about it for a second. When all those little processes just melt into the background, when things happen almost like magic, imperceptibly, but exactly when they should, it creates space, mental space, emotional space, space for beauty, for real emotion, for, genuine connection. If you're not subconsciously worrying about your dinner reservation or if the car will be there on time or if they remembered your dietary needs, your mind is free. You can really be present. You can notice the art on the wall. You can engage fully in a conversation. You feel truly looked after. And that feeling, that unexpected sort of cognitive freedom, that's what the sources call the real alchemy of efficient hospitality. It lets the front of house staff relax too, lets them shine, lets them properly connect with you, the guest. And you, in turn, feel relaxed. You feel seen. You feel valued.
That's a really powerful way to put it. Efficiency isn't the absence of luxury. It's actually the purest expression of it because it frees up the guest. Okay, so the idea is this efficiency lets the frontline staff really connect and shine. But what about all the stuff happening behind the scenes? The sources hint that what the guest doesn't see is often the most telling sign of excellence. They call these back-end operations the foundation of the whole experience. What kind of systems are we actually talking about here?
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is how these behind-the-curtain systems really make that invisible excellence possible. The sources break it down into about 4 key areas. First, optimized operations. And this isn't just about being fast. It's about smart design to cut waiting times and, crucially, ensure consistency so your experience is perfect every single time. Second, agile responses. This means making any request feel like a pleasure for them to handle, not a chore. Like, imagine booking a really specific villa stay in just minutes, maybe online or through an app, or getting tailored wine pairings suggested really quickly, or even, say, them proactively rescheduling your spa appointment because they noticed your flight was delayed, that kind of thing. Third, you need aligned teams, staff who really know their role, who trust each other completely, and just work smoothly together, anticipating needs, connecting with guests effectively, no friction internally. And fourth, technology that enhances, not overwhelms. We're talking less about flashy gadgets in the room and more about powerful unseen platforms running in the background. Maybe AI predicting your preferences before you even check in, or analytics making sure staffing is perfect so no one waits. It's tech that's so smooth you don't even notice it's there. You just experience the magic it enables.
Right. So these carefully designed systems, they're the engine making the magic happen backstage. And that's what allows the front of house team to be present, to connect, and lets you, the guest, just focus on the experience itself, on the connection, the moment. The sources use this really evocative metaphor, too, the guest journey as a symphony, like a delicate choreography where every single interaction just flows seamlessly into the next. Can you maybe paint a picture for us? What does that symphony actually look and feel like in practice?
Absolutely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this symphony isn't just one moment. It plays out across the entire journey. It starts early. Maybe a welcome email arrives with just the right tone, at just the right time, already anticipating some of your needs, perhaps. Then arrival.
Yeah.
It feels personal, not like a standard procedure. Maybe the valet already knows your name. Like you said, you walk into your room and it's already adjusted to your known preferences, the lighting, maybe a specific scent you like, even the firmness of the pillows. They know. It means anticipating things so well that your questions get answered before you even think to ask them, like your preferred newspaper just appearing silently in the morning. And then checkout. It feels like a warm farewell, you know. A final positive touch point, not just settling the bill. A smooth, memorable end.
Wow. That level of fluidity and function, and it's genuinely remarkable when you think about it. It must demand systems that are practically flawless, right? And teams that really understand their rhythm, their part in the orchestra. And leadership, I suppose, that values that precision just as much as the passion. Let's talk a bit more about the emotional side of this, the impact on the guest. Because this kind of seamless, effortless service, it clearly goes beyond just comfort or convenience, doesn't it? It taps into something deeper.
Oh, definitely. And what's fascinating here and really compelling is how that feeling of intuitive ease impacts the guest. When you never have to repeat yourself, when you don't feel like just another check-in number, when your needs seem almost magically created, you become emotionally engaged, deeply engaged. And that emotional engagement, that's where true loyalty comes from, according to these sources anyway. It's what drives those return visits, the word-of-mouth recommendations, the lasting memories people cherish. It really highlights that efficiency isn't just about operations. It's fundamentally experiential. It's about creating a feeling, a connection that makes it not just satisfied, but genuinely devoted to the place.
Yeah, it's almost like when the luxury feels that effortless because it's so precisely engineered, guests don't notice the engineering part at all. They just feel so incredibly at ease that they never want to leave. And the Luxure sources, they position themselves right at the forefront of this, don't they? As a leader in this new way of thinking. They explicitly state they don't just curate experiences, they engineer them. How do they actually describe that engineering approach?
Well, this raises an important point about their strategy. Their approach, as described, is about meticulously designing every single layer of the operation. Everything from the underlying tech platforms that manage everything to the very specific staff training programs they develop. Their whole focus, the sources say, is squarely on removing obstacles, creating that smooth, seamless flow for the guest journey. They seem to have really grasped that in this modern era, luxury is fundamentally about how things feel. It's about the emotional resonance, the sense of ease, not just how things look or, how much they cost on paper.
It really paints a very clear picture of where high-end hospitality seems to be heading. It's moving beyond just impressive spaces, isn't it? It's becoming much more about how easy, how elegant, how truly effortless that whole experience feels for you, the guest, from the very beginning to the very end. So this deep dive has really shone a light on how silent luxury marks a pretty significant shift in how we define excellence in hospitality. We've seen the kind of profound impact those unseen operations and those intuitive, effortless moments can have on our expectations.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Where else do you encounter examples of this kind of silent luxury in your own life? Maybe it's in a really well-designed app you use or a service that just seems to know what you need before you do. And thinking bigger, how could that core concept removing friction be applied elsewhere? Not just in hotels, but maybe in our workplaces or even our personal interactions to create more of those symphony-like experiences, something to think about.